हमारे साथ जुड़े रहने के लिए हमारे YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, साथ ही बेल आइकन को दबाएं। नेटवर्क न्यूज की खबरें सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
Jairam, Ramesh.
To speak on the National Medical Commission Bill, the Honourable Minister has just said that of the 56 recommendations of the Standing Committee, 40 have been accepted, no problem. 9 have been rejected, no problem. 7 have been partially accepted, that is the problem. And that is what I want to focus on how by partially accepting the Standing Committee's recommendations, the government has destroyed the spirit of the Standing Committee and is in danger of destroying the constitutional scheme of things by which health is a state subject and medical education is a concurrent subject. So, my first problem is with clause 4 of this bill. Clause 4 of this bill puts a structure for the National Medical Commission, 14, 6, 5. 14 nominated by the central government, 6 to be nominated by the state government, and 5 to be elected from the profession. The Standing Committee had said 10, 10, 9. 10 central government, 10 state government, 9 elected. Fine. I am willing to buy the argument that there must be 14 representatives of the central government. There must be 5 elected representatives of the medical profession. My first amendment relates to the representation of the state governments, and I am proposing instead of 14, 6, 5, it should be 14, 15, 5. 14, 6, 5 means every state, Orissa, Telangana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, will get a turn once in 12 years. So in this division number 185, Mr. Annadurai sat for 5 years. Jayalalitha ji sat here for 4 years. They would not have accepted this bill. I urged my regional party colleagues to reject this bill on this ground. 14, 6, 5 is an assault on the Indian Constitution because it gives every state turn once in 12 years. I am proposing 14, 15, 5, which means every state will get a turn once in every 4 years, which is more reasonable. This is my first criticism. I have moved an amendment, and I request my colleagues of the regional parties not to be swayed by other considerations, but stick to the consideration of the Constitution. Health is a state subject. 75% of all health expenditure in India is incurred by the state governments, and the central government wants to centralize the National Medical Commission. So, my second problem with the bill, which is the partial acceptance, it comes in clause 10. Clause 10, 1I. And what does it say? Frame guidelines for determination of fees and all other charges in respect of 50% of seats in private medical institutions and deemed to be universities. So, the original bill which the minister spoke about had a provision which said fixed fees for at most 40%. At most 40%. The Standing Committee changed it to at least 50%. The partial acceptance, they have dropped the at least and they have included only 50%. So what does this mean? There are roughly 71,000 MBBS seats in the country today. Out of the 71,000 MBBS seats, 40,000 seats are in government medical colleges. And about 76,000, 40,000 are in government medical colleges and 36,000 are in private sector. Of the 36,000 private seats, roughly 30,000 are in private medical colleges and 6,000 are in deemed universities. So the Honourable Minister knows, and every Member of Parliament will know, that even today, every state government regulates fees to private medical institutions because of the Inamdar judgment of the Supreme Court. Sir, there is an old, ancient Sanskrit Subhashitani, which I want to bring to the Honourable Minister's attention. Vaidyaraj namastubhyam, Yamarajas sahodara, Yamastu harati pranan, Tvam tu pranan dhanani cha. Hey Vaidyaraj, तुमको नमस्कार। तुम यो यमराज के भाई हो, यमराज तो प्राण ले जाते हैं, तुम न केवल प्राण पर हमारा धन भी ले जाते हो. So this clause 10(1)(I) will create Vaidyarajas who will be worse than Yamarajas. This is what this is going to do. This is going to open the floodgates to privatization of medical education. Sir, I believe in privatization. I want Air India to be privatized. I want Ashoka Hotel to be privatized. I want many other institutions in the public sector to be privatized. But I do not believe in privatization of medical education. Medical education is the responsibility of the state. It is the responsibility of the government. It's a constitutional obligation. 10(1)(I) opens the floodgates. And therefore my amendment, sir, is to replace 50% by 75%. Because today, about 75% of the seats in medical colleges are already regulated. So why are you disturbing the system of regulation? In fact, the standing committee said that National Medical Commission should focus on fixing guidelines for those seats where there is no regulation. If 75% is already regulated, why are you taking powers for only 50%? And sir, what does frame guidelines mean? Are you going to enforce it? How are you going to enforce it? Frame guidelines is a very, very vague proposition. However, in my amendment, I have not disturbed that language, but I have changed 50% to 75%. So these are my two amendments. One, to change 14(6)(5) to 14(15)(5), and second, to change 50% to 75%. And I urge all members to look at their conscience, irrespective of party affiliation, and support my amendments. So my two very quick clarifications of the Honorable Minister. Clause 14 and 15 speaks of an exit exam. So this follows the recommendation of the Standing Committee. What I would like to ask the Honorable Minister, sir, exam has three purposes. First, to confer a degree. Second, to give a license to practice. Third, to get admission into a postgraduate college. So medical is not like engineering. In engineering, my final exam was a multiple choice, but in medicine, you cannot have multiple choice exam. 50% of it is clinical. If you do not have a clinical component to your exam, then that exam is incomplete. So I want to ask the Honorable Minister, is the exit test a test of theory, or is it a test of clinical capability as well? Because in medical graduates, we want not just theoretical knowledge, but we want clinical capability. So would the Honorable Minister please clarify, what is this next? Will there be a final year MBBS exam? Will there be a degree conferred by that university? And over and above that, there will be an exit exam. So my final clarification is on section 32. Sir, on this ground alone, this bill should go to a select committee. Section 32 was not in the bill that came to the standing committee. This has been added, and I have no problem for if the government was to add, but the minister did not even refer to it in his opening remarks. Section 32 creates a new cadre of health workers. And what does it say? It says it will be a mid-level career. So between a nurse and a doctor, they will create a new species called community health provider. And this community health provider will practice modern medicine. Sir, are we going to institutionalize quackery?
Yeah.
आप देख रहे हैं नेट्रिक न्यूज, साहस सच कहने का।